Chapter 1 Menguang's Skill Tree. Orario, in the dim dungeon, a blue slime suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Its appearance caused agitation in the dungeon. Obviously, this monster slime was not a product of the dungeon. Soon, countless monsters were refreshed around this slime. However, just when these monsters were about to attack the slime, the entire space screen seemed to be suspended. Ding! The host has been reborn successfully, the race is slime, and the matching novice rewards have been distributed. Ding! Congratulations to the host, get, Lemuru Tempest Skill Tree. Confirmation is completed, and the heat resistance is successfully obtained. After the confirmation is completed, the stab resistance is successfully obtained, and then the physical attack resistance is successfully obtained. Confirmation is completed, and the pain invalidation is successfully obtained. Confirmation is completed, cold resistance is successfully obtained, and the skill becomes temperature change resistance due to the acquisition of heat resistance and cold resistance. Confirmation is complete, obtain electric current resistance, and add paralysis resistance successfully. Obtain the unique skill Predator successfully. Obtain the extra skill Sage, and then Sage evolves into the unique skill Great Sage successfully. After pausing the recovery, this reincarnated slime also found that he was surrounded by monsters, so he attacked first. I saw it jumped over the monsters, and its body suddenly became infinitely larger, like a big net that instantly wrapped and bound all the monsters. Immediately afterwards, the net began to shrink rapidly, and eventually became a slime again. As for those monsters, they were all swallowed up by it. After swallowing these monsters, the slime's body began to grow rapidly, and then turned into a tall humanoid tauren. This tauren is one of the monsters in the dungeon, the Minotaur. I saw it move its body a bit, then looked at its hands and said, "This shape is not bad, it's very strong." That's right, this slime is a reincarnator. His name is Lan, and in his previous life he was a person from the Celestial Empire on Earth. After crossing, I was very lucky to get a system. Because the reborn race is slime, the system gave Lemuru Tempest Skill Tree as a novice reward. In the future, all the skills on the skill tree can be lit up by continuously devouring and obtaining magic power. Lan watched Menguang animation in his previous life, and knew how terrifying Menguang's skill tree was. In the later stage, he had a magical skill at the creation level. It can be said that the system gave him the Tianhu card at the beginning. Open the Lemuru skill tree, and the skills that Menguang has acquired in various stages are immediately displayed in front of you. It takes mana or life force to light up these skills, and the more powerful the skill, the more mana and life force is required. Just devoured the corpses of a group of monsters, and gained a lot of magic and vitality, which was just used to point skills. Menguang's first skill is naturally water pressure propulsion, then the race-specific skills absorption, dissolution, self-regeneration, and then magic perception taught by Storm Dragon. I have to say that magic perception is really easy to use. It pushes the magic element through light and sound waves, and it has a 360-degree panoramic view within 100 meters. Countless information is printed in the brain. If it is a human, it will definitely not be able to process the huge information that emerges at this moment, and the brain will definitely be burned directly. But slime is different, every cell is a muscle, but also a brain cell. But Lan couldn't use his brain all the time, so he handed it over to the Great Sage to deal with it. After confirmation, the extra skill Magic Perception and the unique skill Great Sage have been successfully synchronized. In the future, all information will be managed by Great Sage. Continue to light up the skills Water Movement and Water Blade, and then merge with Water Pressure Propulsion. Confirmation is complete, because you have obtained Water Pressure Propulsion, Water Flow Movement, and Water Blade. The comprehensive evolution to the additional skill Water Manipulation has been successful. Just by lighting up the initial skills of a few cute kings, and Lan found that the magic and vitality he had swallowed had been used up. Unable to point skills, he checked the system. Its own system is called the treasure box system, and every day you sign in, you will get a wooden treasure box. 10 wooden treasure chests can be combined into a black iron treasure chest, and 10 black iron treasure chests can be combined into a silver treasure chest. By analogy, the treasure chest level is divided into 7 levels: wood, black iron, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and supreme. The treasure chest can open a variety of prizes. The more advanced the treasure chest is, the higher the probability of opening advanced prizes. And Lan couldn't help it immediately and started the first sign in. Sign in. Ding, sign in successfully, get, wooden treasure chest. In the system backpack, there is a dilapidated treasure chest made of wood. Open the treasure chest. Ding, open successfully, get, training great sword. The treasure chest in the backpack disappeared, and a giant large knife appeared. And Lan took it out, feeling familiar for a while. It's actually a weapon in Yuan Shen, a 1-star 2-handed sword. Although the sword was huge, it was just the right size for an Lan who mimicked the Minotaur. After figuring out how to use the system, An Lan intends to leave this dark dungeon and devour some monsters to gain skills. This dungeon is like a cave labyrinth, extending in all directions. An Lan didn't know where to go, so he just picked one. Before long, a monster appeared in front of him. This time it was a pack of hounds, and they could breathe fire. Too bad An Lan has heat resistance and doesn't care at all. I saw him rushing into the group of dogs, wielding a great sword, and dispersing them. Wherever the great sword passed, the hound was directly cut off. Bright red blood was splattered everywhere, and the picture was very bloody. When An Lan finished beheading the dogs and was about to devour the corpses, the hounds turned into fly ash and disappeared, leaving only the purple spar. How is this going? An Lan crouched down, picked up the spar, and already had a guess in his heart. At this moment, he understood that the world he had traveled through should be. Is it wrong to seek encounters in the dungeon? And it's not the world of novels, it's the world of anime. Although both are wrong, but there are still differences between anime and novels. The corpses of the dungeon monsters in the novel world will not disappear, and the magic stone needs to be dug out by yourself. However, the setting of the anime world is different. After the monster dies, the corpse will disappear automatically, leaving only a magic stone. In this way, An Lan wants to devour these monsters, not to kill them, but to swallow them alive before killing them. Of course, it can also devour the magic stone, but this is a bit of a waste. After all, the monster's own vitality can also be used for skills. Knowing the world he was in, An Lan was not in a hurry to leave the dungeon. Because the exit of the dungeon is in Orario, before it can't mimic humans, going out will definitely be besieged by adventurers. Next, he will start to concentrate on devouring monsters, accumulating magic power and vitality. Chapter 2: Devouring the Amazons. As time went by, An Lan didn't know how many monsters he had swallowed. Anyway, he swallowed hellhounds, unicorn rabbits, and minotaurs. According to these monsters, it can be determined that he should be below the 11th floor of the dungeon and above the 17th floor. At this moment, he has accumulated a lot of magic and vitality, and he can continue to use skills. What he wants to light up this time is not a skill, but a special blessing. Emblem of the Storm. The blessing was lit, and Lan was strengthened again, became a named monster, and his strength increased exponentially. Keep lighting up your skills. Poisonous mist breath, heat sensing, simulated black snake form. Full body armor, simulated carapace lizard form. Paralyzing breath, simulated evil centipede form. Sticky silk, wire, simulated black spider form. Vampiric, ultrasonic, simulated giant bat form. Super smell, conveying ideas, coercion, simulation of fang wolf form. These are all skills and mimicry acquired by Menguang after devouring monsters in the early stage, and they are very practical. After the ultrasonic skill is turned on, even if there is no mimic human, the slime form can speak. The most important thing is that the voice can be changed at will. You can have any voice you want, male voice, female voice, high pitch and bass, all are fine. Looking at the remaining magic power and vitality, Enlan lights up again, clone, rigid force, shadow movement, body strengthening, multiple enchantment, super speed regeneration, universal change, corrosion invalidation, water ice magic gun. Only then did all the accumulated magic and vitality have been used up. Open the character panel. Name, Enlan. Race, slime. Blessing, crest of the storm. Magic, water ice magic spear. Inherent abilities, absorption, self-regeneration, dissolution. Unique skills, great sage, predator. Additional skills, clone, rigidity, water manipulation, shadow movement, magic perception, body enhancement, multiple enchantments, super speed regeneration, universal change. Common skills, sticky wire, blood sucking, coercion, ultrasonic wave, super smell, heat source perception, transmission of thoughts, full body armor, poison breath, paralysis breath. All resistances, pain invalidation, corrosion invalidation, electric resistance, paralysis resistance, temperature change resistance, physical attack resistance. Human mimesis, none. Monster mimics, rabbit, Cerberus, minotaur. Monster mimics, wolves, black snakes, black spiders, carapace lizards, evil centipedes, giant bats. This attribute is already quite abnormal, it is simply a skill library for walking. Now an Ian's strength is almost equivalent to Orally's LV6 adventurer, and he only needs to light up the skills of Jing, Fire Elf, and Pighead Emperor, and Menguang's initial skills are complete. However, the skills of the three are very strong, and the magic and vitality required are very large. If you want to obtain such a huge amount of magic and vitality, you can only devour the floor master. Just do what he thinks. Just when Enlan is about to go deeper into the dungeon, a group of adventurers arrives from India. 5 female adventurers, dark-skinned and scantily clad, are being hunted by a pack of hellhounds and unicorns. Is this the Amazon family? Enlan saw the complexion of several women, and knew that they were the Amazons unique to the world, and they were all females. Because there are no males, the Amazons often kidnap males back to reproduce. This also caused their characters to be very open by nature, and it is not an exaggeration to say that they are let alone. When several Amazon women saw Enlan who mimicked the Minotaur, their expressions suddenly changed, and they all showed expressions of despair. One of the characteristics of Mo Wang's mimicry is that it can evolve. For example, if he devoured the leader of the Fang Wolf, he could mimic the Fang Wolf, but when his strength increased in the later stage, he could also imitate the evolution of the Fang Wolf, the Helan Xing Lang. By the same token, Enlan previously mimicked the common Minotaur. But as he lights up more and more cute king skills and becomes stronger and stronger, his mimetic Minotaur has also evolved. At this time, he was more than 3 meters tall, his muscles were bulging high, and his brown fur had turned black. This appearance is like the heretic Minotaur in the third plot. The whole body exudes coercion, which is extremely terrifying. No way, kill it. The woman in the lead showed a fierce look, waving the big sword in her hand, and slashed at Enlan. Enlan didn't expect that she would attack him, but he reacted instantly, and now he looks like a monster. But since you attacked first, don't blame me. I saw him raise his right hand, and a silver-white spider silk erupted to comfort it, and then a water blade formed in the void, which instantly slashed through her neck. The woman's body was immediately separated, and blood splashed out like a fountain. The remaining 4 women were immediately frightened and fell to the ground, shivering. The black mutant minotaur can also use spider silk and water magic, which is incredible. They didn't shoot Enlan, so Enlan didn't kill them either. But the monsters chasing after them would not let them go and drown them directly. Enlan used water manipulation to kill all these monsters and devour them together with the bodies of several women. After devouring human corpses, he can also mimic humans. I saw a change in his body, from the minotaur to a woman. This woman was the one he had just beheaded. The only difference was that the woman should be in her 30s, but after Enlan mimicked, she became a girl of about 16. There is also skin color and hair color. The Amazons are all dark-skinned women, but Enlan after the mimicry is indeed fair-skinned, very fair and tender. The hair has also changed from brown to blue, giving people the feeling that the overall appearance has improved several grades. Enlan put on his clothes and said to himself, "It's time to leave the dungeon." Now that he can mimic humans, he doesn't plan to go deeper into the dungeon, but is going to visit Orario. The monsters along the way did not devour, but left behind magic stones after killing them. He intends to bring these magic stones to Orario to sell them for money. Human life cannot be separated from money. At the upper level, Enlan finally encountered another group of adventurers. They were obviously planning to go back as well, and Enlan used magical perception and followed from a distance. Soon he left the dungeon and came to the labyrinth city of Orario. The endless square is full of adventurers who come and go, including humans, orcs, dwarves, villains, elves and so on. There is also the towering Tower of Babel, which is like a pillar connecting heaven and earth. Standing below, you can feel the coercion of the gods. Enlan also stopped for a while, and after looking around, he went to the exchange office. He took out the monster magic stones he killed along the way, and exchanged a total of 360,000 wallis. This money is definitely not enough to buy a house, so Enlan went to the hotel to stay for 3 days. Chapter 3 Unable to parse favors. At night, Enlan sat cross-legged on the bed in his hotel room, lost in thought. Because he just discovered something, the great sage can't analyze the favor. The blessing of the wrong world is the key that the gods give to human beings to develop their potential. After the blessing, the battles and training of the adventurers will be recorded by the blessing, which will become an experience of upgrading, making the adventurer stronger and stronger. Humans have infinite possibilities. In addition to helping adventurers level up, favors can also develop different skills and magic according to different people. It can be said that, aside from the gods and dungeons, favor is the most mysterious thing in this world. Enlan asked a little unwillingly, "Great sage, is it possible that there is no analysis at all?" Solution: full analysis. It will take 3 years. 3 years is neither long nor short. However, Enlan already has a plan in mind. Since the great sage can't analyze it, she has to wait for her to evolve. Don't forget that the great sage is only the lowest level existence, with the king of wisdom and the spiritual core of the sky-defying level on it. The night passed, and the first thing Enlan did after waking up was the system check-in. System, sign in. Ding, sign in successfully, get, wooden treasure chest. Open the treasure chest. The first time I opened the treasure chest, I got a training sword. I don't know what I can open this time. Ding, open successfully, get, Gant's sword. And Ian's eyes lit up, but he didn't expect to use this black technology weapon. The Gant's sword comes from the world of Slaughter City. It seems to be just a black handle, but the blade can actually extend from the handle in an instant. In fact, the elongation effect is achieved by instantly changing the arrangement of nanoparticles. After the blade extends out of the handle, the arrangement of nanoparticles is changed again, making the blade tough and sharp. Enlan took the sword out of the system backpack, covered the handle of the sword with his right hand, and threw it. The sharp black blade slammed out of the hilt and turned into a black war knife. The training sword that was launched yesterday was too big and heavy, and it was completely unsuitable for the body of a girl who is now mimicking. This sword is light and sharp, just right. After Enlan left the hotel, he went to an armor shop and bought a set of black armor and light armor. Put on a new attire, and simply tie her long light blue hair into a ponytail, so she looks like an adventurer. After leaving the armor shop, Enlan went to North Street for a walk. As a result, he did not encounter the legendary North Street natural disaster Hestia, indicating that she has no lower bounds. So the wrong time now should be before the plot begins. Immediately, Enlan went to the guild to inquire about the public information of the major families. To his surprise, the Astria family was still alive. Now Orario's time period is 5 years before the plot begins. Enlan has only watched the 3 seasons of the wrong anime in his previous life, but has not read the novels. He doesn't know much about the plot of this time period. He only knows that the Astria family will be revenged by the Dark family this year, and then in addition to except for Ryan, all the members sacrificed. But exactly how it was destroyed, he didn't know. Before I crossed over, I was about to play the 4th season, and it was the Liu Liang chapter, which was going to tell the story, but I didn't wait for it. After figuring out the time, the next step is to improve the strength. Although his current strength is enough to sweep the adventurers of the entire Orario, who would think that he is too strong. And he doesn't plan to stay in the wrong world for the rest of his life. As long as he lights up Meng Wang's final skill God of the Void, he can travel through the world freely and leave here. Enlan went to the market to buy some food and water, put them all into the system backpack, and stored the weapons in his stomach space, and then went down to the dungeon. He doesn't need to carry a lot of materials and recovery potions like ordinary adventurers, because magic power can be swallowed, and with enough magic power, even if injured, he can use self-regeneration and super speed regeneration to recover. The adventurers on the upper floors compared that Enlan did not directly devour the monster, but took out the Gantz sword, slaying monsters and collecting magic stones like ordinary adventurers. After reaching the 12th floor, Enlan started to devour infinitely after almost no other adventurers could be encountered. No matter what monster you are, what minotaur, Cerberus, unicorn rabbit, little devil, orc, silverback ape, saber-toothed tiger, pterodactyl, etc., come and devour them all. In this way, Enlan swallowed all the way, directly from the 12th floor to the 16th floor. The next 17th floor is the floor, Lord Goliath. When Enlan entered the 17th floor, he saw a huge field surrounded by rock walls. Suddenly, the rock wall began to collapse. Immediately after walking out of the rock wall, a supergiant dozens of meters tall, it was Goliath. Devouring you, you should get a lot of magic and vitality. A smile appeared on the corner of an Ian's mouth, and he didn't pay attention to the floor master at all. At this moment, his strength is enough to match a level 6 adventurer, and with Meng Wang's various powerful skills, he can fight even if he encounters level 7. On a mere LV4 floor, he really didn't take it seriously. I saw the floor master Goliath roared, and then punched Enlan. Enlan also stretched out his right hand, only to see his arm turned into claws, with solid scales on it. This is the ability obtained by Meng Wang devouring the carapace lizard, full body armor. At the moment, he only had one arm armored. The tiny fist collided with Goliath's huge fist, Enlan didn't move, but the dead Goliath was blasted out. Too weak, you have disappointed me. And Ian's arm recovered, and there was a hint of disappointment in his eyes. Next, he no longer gave Goliath a chance to resist. Using the magic water ice spear, he summoned 4 huge ice cones in the air and smashed them down. Goliath's limbs were pinned to the ground, unable to move. However, this guy is also a ruthless man, and he directly tore off his limbs, thus getting out of control. Immediately afterwards, he faced Enlan, and a blast of air blasted directly. Enlan raised his hand to activate multiple enchantments, forming a transparent defense layer. The air bomb hit the defense layer. Although it didn't break the defense, the impact caused Enlan to retreat a few meters, and his feet scratched 2 deep grooves on the ground. At the same time, Goliath's broken limbs were also restored at this time. As a floor master, resilience is terrifying. Goliath charged Enlan again, but this time Enlan would not give it another chance. I saw countless spider silks from his hands, and instantly bound Goliath's body. Then the body turned into a slime, grew infinitely larger, and devoured the Goliath package. Chapter 4 Demon King, Gluttony. Devoured Goliath, including the oversized magic stone in its body. In addition to the other monsters he devoured along the way, an Aeon's magic power and vitality have once again accumulated to a very large amount. Next, it's time for another happy point of skill. The mutant, inflammation, imitation Izawa Shizue. Clone, inflammation, area enchantment, heat manipulation, flame blast, invalid heat attack, imitation Ifrit. The confirmation is completed, the additional skills inflammation, hot manipulation, and water manipulation have been integrated, and the additional new skills black flame and molecular manipulation have been successfully obtained. Confirmation is completed, black lightning and molecular manipulation are linked to obtain the additional new skill black thunder successfully. Confirmation is completed, temperature change resistance and heat attack invalid are integrated, and the evolution to temperature attack invalid is successful. After confirming, link various resistances with range enchantment to obtain the additional skill multiple enchantment successfully. Confirmation is completed, the imitation in the unique skill predator is integrated with the original slime skills dissolve, absorption, and self-regeneration, and the additional skill super speed regeneration is successfully obtained. Therefore, the inherent skill dissolve, absorb, self-regeneration disappear. It is enhanced again as Enlan unlocks the skills of Still and Fire Spirit Ifrit. At the same time, because of the integration and separation ability of the mutators, the Great Sage began to integrate skills for Enlan. The direction of integration is exactly the same as that of Menguang, and some skills do not even need to be lit, they are directly integrated. For example, the 2 skills super speed regeneration and multiple barriers that were lit up before were directly integrated, which is a complete waste of magic and vitality. Next is the skills of the Pighead Emperor and the Storm Demon Vortex. The Hungry, the Demon King, the Mimic Pighead Demon King. Magic Obstruction, Gravity Manipulation, Storm and Scale Rain, Imitation Storm. In addition to the skills of the Pighead Emperor and the Great Storm Demon Vortex, there are also skills that Menguang copied and learned when fighting against them, such as Lao Bai's Chi-Do, Demon's Magic Bullet, and Lanya's Wind Control, as well as Spirit Summoning, Demon Summoning, etc. Enlan simply lights up all these skills at once. As his skills were lit up, Enlan seemed to have swallowed these monsters himself just like the King of Cuteness, and his strength was growing rapidly. But the most important thing is the pig-headed Demon King's Demon King species. With this, you can advance to the Demon King in the future. Confirmation is complete, the unique skill Hunger is absorbed and integrated by the unique skill Predator, and the unique skill Predator evolves into the unique skill Gluttony. At this moment, an Aeon's strength has reached the strongest form before the Mo King evolves into the Demon King. In the wrong world, it has surpassed the strongest LV7 level OTA, and the proper LV8 level is up. The strength of OTA LV7, in the Menguang world, is at most similar to the Pighead Emperor, and it is estimated that even the Storm and the Big Demon Vortex can't be beat. After all, there are too many special skills and magic in the world of Menguang, as well as various regeneration and recovery skills, and the corpse can be recovered after separation, which is not comparable to adventurers in the wrong world. Of course, adventurers in the wrong world are not useless. They have been fighting with dungeon monsters all the year round, and their combat experience is very terrifying. Menguang has no combat experience, and basically relies on bug skills to devour and crush, and one trick is eaten all over the sky. In addition, please call on your behalf and let the great sage control it. Enlan will naturally not learn from Menguang, even if he has strong skills and strength, he can't let go of his combat experience. After clicking on the skills, the magic power and vitality of the swallowing are also exhausted. So far, Menguang's initial skills have all been lit except for one unintentional. Enlan didn't light up Heartless because the skill would affect his emotions, making him emotionless. So he planned to turn it on when he advanced to the Demon King in the future, and used it to sacrifice to the gluttony. The rest of the skills in the skill tree are basically the skills of the awakened Demon Queen, which are completely transformed. Some of the ultimate skills are even more terrifying and require too much magic and vitality. It is estimated that it will take several years to accumulate only by swallowing dungeon monsters. So Enlan is not in a hurry to continue to point skills. Anyway, with his current strength, he can walk sideways in the wrong world. When you come to the 18th floor, you are introduced to a green grassland and forest, like a paradise scenery. This layer is the security layer. Many adventurers on expeditions will use the security layer as a transit station. Over the years, some adventurers who saw business opportunities have established a small town called Rivera here. Because it is inconvenient to transport the materials, the prices in the town are particularly expensive. Most of the expedition teams chose to camp in the wild, and only went to the town to stay and buy supplies if they had to. Enlan grows a pair of bat wings behind and flies high into the sky. Looking down from above, he found that the space on the 18th floor was very large, and many forests and grasslands were uncultivated areas. Even the small town of Rivera was only built under a giant tree in the central area. "It's so beautiful," Enlan said with emotion. "I have to say, this dungeon is really a miracle work." He didn't stop at the 18th floor, and left directly after finding the entrance to the next floor. Next, continue hunting monsters. The dungeon starts from the 19th floor, which is the big tree maze. The fog and jungle trees can be seen everywhere, and the types of monsters have become more and more. It's just that no matter how it changes, the strength of these monsters is not enough to see in front of Enlan. He didn't use his skills to slaughter, but relied on his own physical and demon resistance and super speed regeneration to practice actual combat experience. Holding the Gantz sword, keep fighting with monsters. Swordsmanship and taijutsu have grown rapidly without knowing it. Every time the monster is beaten to death, only the corpse is devoured, leaving behind the magic stone. These magic stones are naturally kept in exchange for money. In the future, they will live in Orario for a long time, and it is impossible to have no money. Going deep all the way, Enlan didn't know how long he stayed in the dungeon and how many floors he went down. Anyway, there were a lot of magic stones accumulated in the system backpack, and the number could not be counted. However, just when Enlan was about to go back, 4 male adventurers suddenly appeared and surrounded him. With obscene eyes in their eyes, they stared at Enlan as if they were going to eat him. Enlan sighed, there is still a lot of darkness in Orario at this time. Chapter 5 Great Sage. Orally's Tavern. Since the departure of the Zeus family and the Hera family, the Dark family has completely lost its shackles, causing the entire labyrinth city to become a haze. First, the most evil incident, several family members were scattered, and the main god was sent back to the heaven by the evil god Erebus. Immediately afterwards, the Dark family of Venados began to do things, and the nightmare event on the 27th floor destroyed the Astrea family. The 4 in front of them are obviously the Dark familiar. Enlan mimicked the Amazon woman, who was originally beautiful. After the mimicry, the black skin turned white, the golden eyes and blue hair, and the appearance of a 16-year-old young girl, which can be said to be infinitely more attractive to male adventurers. The man in the lead said with a wicked smile, "Little sister, it's very dangerous to go down to the 21st floor alone. Do you want the big brothers to protect you?" The other three men also burst into laughter after hearing this. "Little sister." An evil smile appeared on the corner of an Ian's mouth, and then he saw his body change. The original girly appearance disappeared, replaced by a black Tauren with a height of more than 3 meters and large muscles. "What the hell, the Minotaur? No. It's impossible, how can people become monsters? Flee, Black Minotaur, this is a mutant monster." For a time, the faces of the 4 people who surrounded Enlan changed dramatically, their legs trembled, and they desperately turned around and ran away. But Enlan wouldn't let them escape. He snapped his fingers and a semicircular barrier emerged, shrouding him and the 4 of them together. The 4 hit the barrier and fell directly to the ground. They attacked the enchantment frantically, but the enchantment that looked like glass was stronger than the alloy, and it was useless no matter how they attacked. "There's no other way but to kill this monster." The leading man calmed down and turned to look at Enlan fiercely. In his opinion, all this is an Ian's ghost. As long as he kills Enlan, he can escape the enchantment. Although the opponent is very strong, there is always a silver lining. The other 3 adventurers looked at each other, nodded, and attacked Enlan in an instant. The 4 cooperated with each other and aimed at the eyes, crotch, chrysanthemum, and head at the same time. Enlan moved in a single shadow and disappeared from the eyes of the 4. The next second, he sprang from the shadow of one of them, and slammed down with a punch. Facing the huge fist of the mimetic Minotaur, the man's head was like a smashed watermelon, shattering instantly. The red blood and white brains were splattered everywhere, making people terrified to see. The other 3 people only reacted at this time, and one of their companions has died. Next, Enlan turned into a girl again and took out the Gantz sword. He is not in a hurry to kill the 3, but intends to use these 3 to practice swordsmanship. The front has always been fighting monsters, so he plans to try fighting people. "Kill me and let you go." Enlan looked at the 3 of them with a girlish sweet smile. But the 3 of them looked terrified, as if the beautiful girl in front of them was a devil who eats people and doesn't spit out bones. But no matter how scared they are, they still have to fight for this chance. The 3 started to attack Enlan frantically. Enlan turned on magic perception and clearly captured all their movements. Immediately afterwards, he turned on the thinking acceleration ability of Great Sage. In his eyes, the attack speed was extremely slow, but it was slowed down countless times again. Enlan started the delay like this, saw the tricks, and then, under the guidance of the Great Sage, gradually integrated a set of actual combat swordsmanship. I don't know how long it took, the 3 of them were exhausted, and all the recovery potions they brought were used up. An Ian's side also completed the creation of swordsmanship, which means that they have lost their value. As soon as Enlan waved his hand, 3 water knives decapitated them. Looking at the corpse underground, I felt a little disgusted and did not swallow it. After solving the 4 dark familiars, it's time to go back. Going up from the 21st floor, it was still the same way, beat the monster to death, and then only swallowed the corpse, leaving behind the magic stone. Night falls and Enlan finally returns to Orario. First, he went to the gold exchange to exchange all the magic stones for money. Because there were a lot of monsters killed this time, when he took out thousands of magic stones, all the other adventurers were stunned. The people at the gold exchange were also taken aback and hurriedly began to count. In the end, a total of 6.25 million Wallace was exchanged. The gold coins piled up like a hill. Enlan paid the staff of the gold exchange office to help deliver them to his hotel room. After the people left, they were all loaded into the system space. Orario's night is very lively, it can be said to be brightly lit. Because the adventurers who had been in the dungeon during the day came back, after a day of killing and fighting, and exchanging magic stones for money, I would definitely enjoy it. So this period is the most profitable time for taverns and flower streets. Enlan left the hotel and came to Orali's most famous tavern, the Rich Hostess. After entering, I saw many adventurers sitting together drinking and chatting in twos and threes. Among them, the most eye-catching is the Loki family. After the worst incident 2 years ago, the 3 giants in the family have all been upgraded to level 6. And Ace, who is only 11 years old, is a little natural, but he is already level 3. In addition, there are the Amazon sisters and Bert the wolf. The atmosphere of the entire family is very good, and the other adventurers around are envious. The arrival of Enlan has also attracted the attention of many adventurers. After all, she has a new face and is a beautiful girl. A silver-haired maid in the store also looked at Enlan, her beautiful eyes narrowed slightly. Enlan also noticed the maid. The green maid skirt was covered with a white apron, a pair of slender and round legs wrapped in black silk, and a pair of brown riding boots on her feet. Rova. This made him uncomfortable for a while. Freya could see through the soul. Could it be that Sieter saw that she was not a human being? No, even though he is a monster slime, his soul is still human. Maybe you're thinking too much. He glanced at the store, and now there are only 3 members in the Rich Hostess Tavern, all of whom are members of the Freya family. The store manager is the former head of the company, Mia, and the remaining 2 store clerks are Sieter and Anya. The 3 future members of Liuliang, Chloe, and Runo have not yet joined. Enlan suddenly had an idea: should he open a shop himself and cut off the 3 of them? Since you can't join the family, why not create one? As long as the great sage deciphers the benefit, he can also give favors to others. Chapter 6 Analysis. And just when Enlan was thinking about things, 11er over there took the initiative to step up and ask, "Little sister, do you want something to eat?" Enlan reacted, smiled politely and said, "This is my first time here. Just come with one of the main dishes in your shop, plus a glass of wine." "Okay, wait a moment." 11er also left with a smile. Before long, a pasta and a glass of wine were brought to the front. Of course, spaghetti is just the name of Enlan before he crossed over, and this world is not called spaghetti. After taking a sip, the taste is similar to the rum in the previous life. As expected of a different world set in ancient Europe, the food and drinks are similar. Although Enlan is a slime, after mimicking an adult, he is basically the same as a normal person and possesses the most basic 5 senses. He does not eat food to fill his stomach, but because of his habit of previous life and his greed for tongue. It was already late at night when we left the pub. After returning to the hotel for a night of rest, Enlan plans to buy a place to stay today. But the first thing I do when I wake up is to sign in. Ding, sign in successfully, get, wooden treasure chest. This time, Enlan did not rush to open the treasure chest, but planned to accumulate 10 wooden treasure chests to synthesize a more advanced black iron treasure chest before opening. Before buying a house, first go to the Ganesha family to report. There are many managements of Orari, and the responsibility of the Ganesha family is similar to that of guards. Whether people from the city go out or people from outside the city come in, they must register through the Ganesha family. As an outsider, Enlan must report to the Ganesha family if he wants to have his own ID card in Orali. When he came to the Ganesha family, he felt like he came to India in a previous life. As the 3rd largest family of Orari, it not only has a large number of members, but also is quite rich. The family station is super huge, and it also has a large arena. All kinds of strange buildings are like ancient India, full of exotic flavors. Enlan came to the registration office and found it was crowded with people. As the center of the world and the place where the gods gather, Orari can be said to be the most prosperous city, and a large number of people come here every day. The waiting time is boring. It would be nice to have a mobile phone to swipe short videos. Great Sage, can you make a mobile phone? Solution, yes. Enlan was slightly taken aback, and he just asked casually, but he didn't expect it to be possible. But think about it, the Great Sage is actually like a supercomputer. As long as she has the material, she can copy anything. King Mo relies on the Great Sage to copy all kinds of things, such as weapons and static masks. Later, he copied the cartoons in his mind and showed them to Zhong Erlong and his students. Thinking of this, Enlan no longer hesitated, and sent all the knowledge about science in his mind, from the steam age of the first industrial revolution to the age of network information, to the Great Sage. Although it is only cognition, there is also a part of modern knowledge. The 9-year compulsory education plus the amount of knowledge in high school and university is enough for the Great Sage to calculate and analyze the technology of the previous life. Sure enough, after waiting for less than 10 minutes, the Great Sage had already finished analyzing it. Confirm, complete the technical analysis. It's so awesome, it's worthy of being a plug-in for the King of Cuteness. Next, as long as you get the materials for making mobile phones, you can make the Great Sage copy it. Enlan thought about it for a while. Except for the semiconductor materials needed for chips, the mobile phone manufacturing materials are easy to say. Finding materials was a hassle, but it didn't bother him. Because there is an awesome skill in the Mo King skill tree, that is the material creation taught by Diablo. This is much more than the legendary alchemy, which requires an equivalent exchange. But this skill of Mengwan can be created out of thin air. Enlan devoured a part of the magic stone kept in the stomach space and gained a lot of magic power. Then open the skill tree, find the skill material creation, and unlock it. After acquiring the skills, based on the metals, copper-clad laminates, monocrystalline silicon, silicate glass, and other materials required by the Great Sage, they are all created. Then swallow the materials into the stomach space, and the Great Sage begins to use molecular manipulation to make these materials into mobile phone parts, and then assemble them. In an instant, a brand new mobile phone is manufactured. Enlan took out the mobile phone from the stomach space. The appearance is very similar to the latest Huawei model in the previous life, but the chip, system, battery, and screen inside are all the latest technology calculated by the Great Sage, which is stronger than the Apple in the previous life. In fact, with the computing ability of the Great Sage, the technology can be deduced better, and even the black technology that was only found in the movies of the previous life can be deduced. But it's not necessary now, and Enlan doesn't want to promote technological civilization in this world and change everything here. With a mobile phone, I don't feel bored anymore. After he couldn't wait to open the phone, he was soon disappointed again. Because there is no app in the mobile phone, no internet, no games, videos, novels. After a long time, I ended up being lonely. Shaking his head in disappointment, he threw the phone into the system space. After waiting for a long time, it was finally an Ian's turn to register. The identity formalities were completed soon, and they were no longer black households. At noon, Enlan came to North Street again, planning to buy a shop here. North Street is very large and has a lot of traffic. There are shops and stalls on both sides of the street. After shopping around, he found a fruit shop with poor business and planned to sell it. The boss is a middle-aged couple, not an adventurer, so the fruits sold are ordinary fruits. Some specialty fruits in the dungeon, they have no supply, so the business is poor. You must know that Orario is the richest adventurer, and doing business for ordinary people can only make ends meet at most. It is basically impossible to make a fortune. Enlan is no nonsense, and directly bid 5 million wallas to buy his shop and all the fruits. The middle-aged couple was extremely surprised and agreed without thinking. With this money, they can go to Deadless Street to buy a cheap house again, and the money left is enough for them to use it for a long time, or even change careers. The two of them went to the guild to go through the formalities together, and Lan could be considered to have a house in another world. Back at the store, he packed all the fruits into the system backpack, so that the quality would not be damaged, and he would eat them slowly in the future. The next step is to renovate the store. The store has 3 floors. The first floor is a facade shop, about 300 square meters. The second floor is the residence, 3 rooms, plus a bathroom and toilet. The third floor is the attic, and there are also 2 rooms, which have been used as storage rooms. The decoration is old and shabby, which makes Lan, who is used to living in a modern house, a little uncomfortable. Therefore, it must be refurbished. Chapter 7: Molecular Manipulation. Alexa Raphael. Lan uses the molecular manipulation skill to break down all the dilapidated decorations in the house into molecules, and then reassemble them into new furniture pieces. Material creation creates a large number of decoration materials such as floors, doors, and windows, glass, cement, marble, and latex paint. Summon the elves. Summon a large number of low-level elves, and let them help start the decoration together. Working together, with the blessing of various magical skills, Lan completed the decoration in just one afternoon. Now, the interior of this ancient European-style 3-story building has been replaced with modern and minimalist decoration. The walls are all painted with white latex paint, the ground on the first floor is covered with white marble, and the rooms on the second floor are covered with wooden floors. The previous wooden windows were all replaced with metal frames and glass, and the windows in the master bedroom were transformed into floor-to-ceiling windows, which provided better lighting. The roof of the third floor was removed, and all were transformed into open-air balconies and sunrooms. The shop on the first floor is also decorated in a modern style, except that the floor is covered with white marble, and the style has also been changed into a living room. Open kitchen and bar, as well as fashionable and beautiful fabric sofa and coffee table. There is even a 100-inch smart LCD TV hanging on the wall of the living room, which is full of arrogance. Of course, this TV was also made by the great sage by Lan, but unfortunately there is no electricity and TV station, so it can only be used as a decoration. Thanks to the elves, Lan lifted the call. After a busy day, I can finally rest. He lay down directly on the sofa, and the whole person was much more relaxed. But soon frowned again, because the newly renovated house smelled too heavy, especially the latex paint on the walls. As a slime, he is not afraid of formaldehyde, but it smells really bad. Use the glutton directly to devour all odors and harmful substances in the house. As a result, the air became clear. However, there is still a lack of green at home, so I can get some potted plants in the future. After a comfortable bath in the bathroom, I went to the master bedroom on the second floor to rest. A night passed, a new day. Wake up in the morning and still sign in first. Ding, sign in successfully, get, wooden treasure chest. After a wash, Lan started to get busy again. Today, he doesn't plan to go to the dungeon, and is still setting up his own hut. Great Sage, can you make a device that converts magic power into electricity? Solution: yes. It's great, let's start now. What materials to use? You create directly with matter. Like King Mo, the Great Sage can use his skills autonomously, as does Lan. In this way, he doesn't need to do anything anymore, and it's all handed over to the Great Sage. Deduction, calculation, analysis, and creation are even easier to use than the system. Confirmation is completed, the manufacturing is successful. Soon, an instrument the size of a microwave oven was built. It is square and has a groove at the top, which can put the magic stone that the monsters in the dungeon exploded into. Then the instrument will automatically operate, converting the magic power in the magic stone into electricity. Both magic and electricity are energy, and they are transformed into each other, which is completely in line with the law of conservation of energy. Enlan took out a magic stone and put it in, and asked the great sage, how much electricity can the magic stone convert at this moment? Solution: the magic stones dropped by monsters of different levels contain different magic powers, but even the lowest level magic stones can convert 3.6 billion joules. That is 1000 kilowatt-hour of electricity. According to the average daily electricity consumption of 10 to 20 kilowatt-hour per household in the previous life, one magic stone is enough for me for 2 months, and there are not many places in this world that I need electricity, so one magic stone is enough for me to use it for 2 months. The magic stone can even be used for 3 months. This surprises Enlan. He is afraid that the magic stone conversion power will not be enough, so he will change it every day in the future. With enough electricity, some electrical equipment can also be manufactured by the great sage, such as air conditioners, refrigerators, washing machines, these necessities of life. The great sage is also very powerful, and quickly produced these appliances. Next is wiring and installing appliances. After another busy day, it was finally completed. The air conditioner turned on, and the house suddenly became much cooler. Although he has the skill of invalidating temperature changes and is not afraid of hot and cold, the cool air will still make people more energetic. Great sage, create a USB flash drive and download all the movies, TV dramas, and animations I've seen in my mind. Confirmation is completed, the U-Disc has been successfully manufactured, and 176 movies and TV dramas and 109 animations have been recorded. Awesome! Enlan turned on the 100-inch smart LCD TV in the living room and inserted the USB flash drive. Immediately, a series of classic film and television dramas and animations from the previous life appeared on the screen, free to choose. I chose Menwang Animation and was about to start watching it when I heard a knock on the door. When I opened the door, I saw a beautiful woman with long red hair standing outside the door. This woman is not only beautiful, but also very tall and slender. Long red hair tied into a ponytail, sleeveless jacket with light armor, black shorts with over-the-knee black silk, a red skirt around the waist, and brown boots on his feet. Enlan looked at the other party and asked, "Who are you looking for?" The red-haired woman was stunned for a moment, then said, "Hello, my name is Alice Raphael. I'm here to buy fruit. Is this still a fruit shop? There are fruits, come in." Enlan made his debut, and also took out a new pair of slippers. Alice was stunned again, but soon understood. With a blushing face, she took off her boots, put on slippers, and followed Enlan into the house. As soon as she came in, she was stunned. The snow-white walls, smooth and reflective marble floors, and all kinds of strange modern furniture in the home look amazing. But what shocked her the most was that although it was so hot outside, it was extremely cool in this room. At this time, she seemed a little overwhelmed when Grandmalu entered the Grand View garden, but her eyes were full of curiosity. Enlan didn't see the change in the woman's expression, and just pretended to take out various fruits from the room. In fact, he stored them in the system backpack. He originally planned to eat them slowly, but he could sell them for money. "Look at what you need." "Ah. Oh. I'll pick it myself." Arashi reacted and began to pick. There are many fruits in the wrong world. There are many familiar fruits in previous lives, as well as some special fruits in this world. If it is used to squeeze juice and sell wine, it should be very profitable. But Enlan only thinks about it, he will not do business. Even if you squeeze juice and make wine, you will only taste it yourself. If you run out of money, go to the dungeon to kill monsters and blast the magic stone. As for selling the fruit to Alice, it was naturally because the other party was handsome. Beauty, of course, has the privilege. Chapter 8: The Lone King of the Labyrinth. Two-Headed Dragon. Alice quickly picked out the fruit, and after paying the money, she left reluctantly. "No way, and Ian's air conditioner is on, it's too cool." After Enlan closed the door, he put the remaining fruit into the system backpack. He turned on the TV, and while watching Menguang's animation, he came to the open kitchen and started cooking. These days have been so peaceful. Another day passed, sign in to accumulate the third wooden treasure chest. Today, Enlan plans to go down the dungeon again. An easy life will make people fall. Although he is not afraid of falling, he still has to work hard before all the Menguang skill trees are unlocked and lit up. When he came to the square under the Tower of Babel, he accidentally saw Alice again. In addition to herself, there are 3 teammates by her side. A beautiful fairy with long golden hair, a long black girl in a kimono, and finally a little lowly with short pink hair. Seeing these 4, some vague memories in an Ian's mind began to become clear. No wonder the name Alice sounded familiar yesterday. This is the leader of the Istria Familia. That's right, the 4 girls in the distance are members of the Istria family. Alice is the head of the family, and the long blonde-haired fairy is Ryu Lion. The long straight girl in black kimono should be Gohano Kagaya. In the original book, Lu Liang's 2 small swords are her relics, named Futaba. As for the last pink-haired lowly, it's Lila. Seemingly short, just because she is a small human race, in fact, her real age is 2 years older than Lu Liang, and she is already 18 years old. Of the 4 women, except for Liu, the other 3 were dead before the plot began. Alice obviously saw Enlan too, waved her hand with a smile, and walked over with her companion. Sister Enlan, I didn't expect you to not only open a shop, but also an adventurer. Arashi said warmly with a smile. Enlan also smiled and replied, the business is bleak, and I can't support myself by opening a store. Also, let me introduce you to my comrades, they are Gale Wind Ryan, Yorindo Gohano Kagaya, and Cunning Mouse Lila. After speaking, she introduced Enlan to her 3 companions. This is Enlan, the fruit shop owner I told you about yesterday. She has a lot of magical things in her shop. Liu and Kagaya nodded politely to Enlan. Lila said energetically, a magical thing? I'm looking forward to it. Alice asked Enlan again, Sister Enlan, do you want to go to the dungeon too? Would you like to team up with us? Enlan refused directly, thank you for your kindness, I'm used to it by myself. He went to the dungeon to devour monsters and accumulate magic power. If you team up with them, how can you devour yourself? Well, next time we have the opportunity to form a team together. Arashi was a little disappointed, and after saying goodbye, she left with her companions. In fact, she also has selfish intentions, that is, she wants to get along with Enlan more, cultivate bonds, and then pull her into the Istria family. Unfortunately, Enlan doesn't seem to have this plan. After entering the dungeon, it is still the same, killing monsters at the upper level to pick up magic stones. When he reached the middle level and was sure that he would not meet other adventurers, Enlan directly imitated the Minotaur, and then took out the training sword. All the monsters encountered were crippled, their limbs cut off, and then the corpses were swallowed, leaving behind magic stones. Because Predator has evolved into gluttonous eater, when swallowing monsters, it is not necessary for the body slime to swallow it. It only needs to burst out a black energy vortex from the palm to wrap the monster's corpse, and then the devouring can be completed. It's a pity that it only devours the corpses of monsters, and the speed of accumulating magic power and vitality is a bit slow. After all, the source of magic power of dungeon monsters is magic stones. Enlan is not in a hurry, anyway, he has an almost endless lifespan, and there are still 5 years before the plot begins. As more and more monsters are swallowed, there are more and more types of monsters he can mimic. But his favorite form is the Minotaur. The Tauren's body is amazing, and with the training of the sword, a child can be saved with one knife. Soon, Enlan passed the 17th floor again and came to the 18th floor of the security layer. The floor master on the 17th floor was subjugated, and it would take 2 weeks for it to be resurrected and refreshed. It can be said that the current 17th floor is also a security layer. Enlan did not stay on the 18th floor, and continued to go deeper. Starting from the 19th floor, it belongs to the big tree maze. There are various plants and jungles here. In order to facilitate the movement, Enlan has changed into a human girl form, and the weapon has also been changed from the training sword to the Gantz sword. There are various plants and fruits in the big tree maze, which makes Enlan very envious. Next, he began to fight monsters and devour monster corpses while collecting various plant seeds and specialty fruits. Some plants are really very beautiful, and if you bring them back to potted plants, they will definitely look good. This dungeon is extremely dangerous for other adventurers. But for Enlan, it is a natural treasure trove. On the way, some monsters will drop items after being killed. These are also useless to Enlan, all thrown into the stomach space. And just like that, he went all the way. 19th, 21st, 21st, 27th floor. There is a new floor master on this floor. Amphias Baena, known as the Lone King of the Labyrinth, is a two-headed dragon. If Lord Goliath's level on the 18th floor is around level 4, then the level of Amphias Baena is about level 5. Of course, the strength of the floor master has a bonus, and the resilience is terrifying, coupled with the advantage of size. Even adventurers of the same level have to form a team to beat it. Enlan came to a huge waterfall, which is the famous blue waterfall on the 27th floor. It seemed that the intruder had been found, and I saw a sound of dragon roars coming from the bottom of the waterfall, followed by a huge figure breaking out of the water. This is a slender dragon that looks like a giant lizard. It has horns on its back and a head on its tail. The two heads look different, one looks like a western dragon and the other looks like a snake head. It's ugly. Looking at the ugly monster in front of him, Enlan couldn't help complaining. Shuanglonglong roared, and instantly opened his attack. Enlan raised his right hand, and the multiple barrier blocked the attack. Immediately following a one-handed move, countless black lightning bolts in the air slashed at the two-headed dragon. The two-headed dragon let out a shriek, and its skin burst open. The bright red blood directly turns the waterfall into red, which is extraordinarily bright. If Enlan wasn't trying to devour the floor master, he could burn it down with a single move of Black Flame Prison. Even with the use of Black Thunder, the force was reduced as much as possible. Chapter 9 Demon Hunter. Shadow Monarch. Although the two-headed dragon is injured, its regeneration ability allows it to recover quickly. Enlan didn't give it a chance to recover, and another Black Thunder blew it up to half-death. Immediately afterwards, a black vortex erupted from the palm, quickly wrapping it. 3 seconds, swallowed up. This time, Enlan devoured not only the corpse, but also the huge magic stone of the floor master. The magic stone of the floor master is too conspicuous, and bringing it back to Orario to sell it will definitely attract the attention of the guild and major families. Although he is not afraid, he is afraid of trouble. Simply swallow it directly, accumulating magic power and vitality. The magic power and vitality of the floor master are very large, but they still don't have enough skills. The ultimate skill of the Mo King needs to be advanced into a Demon King, and the evolution of the Demon King needs a lot of human souls to nourish the Demon King seed, so that it can take root and blossom and bear fruit. Enlan can't kill people for no reason, and he still kills more than 20,000 people at one time like Meng Wang. Without a soul, it can only rely on a lot of magic power to pile up. There is also the most crucial point, in the wrong world, when you can't get the blessing of the voice of the world when you evolve the devil, you need a lot of magic power to replace the blessing of the voice of the world. These two items alone require a huge amount of magic and vitality. The magic power and vitality of a floor master alone is far from enough. Next, go deeper. Time flies so fast, 7 days have passed in a blink of an eye. During this time, Enlan has been going deep into the dungeon without ever going out. In just 7 days, he has descended from the 27th floor to the 59th floor. It devoured countless monsters in the middle, including the floor master Udius on the 38th floor, and the floor master Baylor on the 49th floor. In addition, these 7 days of sign-in finally accumulated 10 wooden treasure chests. System, synthetic treasure chest. Ding, the synthesis is successful, get, black iron treasure chest. Open the treasure chest. Ding, open successfully, get, world pass. This is a rather old-looking scroll. As long as it is opened, the user will be randomly transported to a world for a 365-day journey. Enlan was a little surprised that what he had opened this time was so precious. His character exploded. With this thing, you can go to other worlds. Although I can only stay for a short period of 1 year, it is better than staying in the wrong world. Now the timeline of the wrong world is 5 years before the beginning of the plot, and many familiar characters have not yet appeared. Instead of making soy sauce here, it's better to play in other worlds. Thinking of this, Enlan didn't have the heart to stay in the dungeon any longer, and set off to return to Orario. On the way back, he continued to devour monsters and accumulated magic power. 6 days later, he returned to the 18th floor. When Enlan continued up and entered the 17th floor, the floor master Goliath was refreshed. Goliath's refresh time was 2 weeks, and he just caught up with him again. Not much nonsense, just use the gluttony skill to swallow Goliath alive. With his current strength that is almost beyond the LV8 level, it is still very easy to directly swallow a LV4 level floor master. Back to Orario, first went to the gold exchange, took out a small part of the magic stone, and exchanged it for 3 million Wallace. The remaining magic stones were not taken out because there were too many. This time, I went deep into the 59th floor of the dungeon. I went back and forth. I don't know how many monsters I killed. The magic stones in the system backpack have piled up into mountains. If all this is exchanged for money, it will definitely be hundreds of millions. This can all be made by the craftsman god Faith Toss to create a top-notch weapon, such as the 200 million dagger from the original libel. Of course, 200 million is still a friendship price. Back home, Ian's first thing to do is to take a bath in the bathroom. After staying in the dungeon for half a month, not to mention how uncomfortable it was. After taking a shower, take a good night's sleep. The next day I woke up naturally. It was past 9 o'clock in the morning. The first thing is to sign in. Ding, sign in successfully, get, wooden treasure chest. Wooden treasure chests accumulate to 7 again. Next, Enlan spent 3 days of being an otaku at home. Finally, I gathered 10 wooden treasure chests again. System, synthetic treasure chest. Ding, the synthesis is successful, get, black iron treasure chest. Open the treasure chest. Ding, open successfully, get, travel sword. What came out this time was a little unsatisfactory, and it was actually a weapon. A weapon from the world of Genshin Impact, the Samsung one-handed sword. The overall shape is somewhat like a cross, with a black blade and a bewitching red in the middle of the blade. Although the appearance is very good looking and conforms to an Ian's aesthetics, it gives off an evil spirit, as if it was born as a weapon used by villains. Enlan took it in his hand and waved it twice, then threw it into the system backpack. Next, he took out the world pass. Then opened it with anticipation. I saw only 4 characters written on the scroll, Shadow Lord. Immediately, the scroll turned into a vortex time-space gate. Enlan was also not afraid at all and walked in directly. Earth, country H. 10 years ago, the doors of this world to other dimensions were opened, people called dungeons. With the appearance of various monsters, demon hunters with different abilities also appeared. These demon hunters are collectively called hunters. Lan, who had passed through, stood on the top of a building in Seoul, looking at the pedestrians coming and going below. A disdainful smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. When he came to this world, he received relevant information in his mind. With this information, Lan finds himself transported back to a familiar world. This is the world of the Korean manga I Level Up Alone. It is based on a modern city and tells the story of hunters entering dungeons to hunt monsters. Different from the dungeon in the wrong world, the dungeon in this world is actually more like a game copy. These dungeon entrances will appear randomly in various places in the world, and the dungeons are divided into E, D, C, B, A, S grades. The male protagonist Chang Jinyu was originally a low-level E-level hunter, but he encountered a double dungeon in a D-level dungeon, and then became the Shadow Monarch, starting an invincible journey all the way. Although it is a Korean manga, the plot has to be said to be very cool. Lan has also read the manga in his previous life, so he is very familiar with the plot. A copy of this world is very suitable for accumulating magic power and vitality. As for the male protagonist Chang Jinyu's plug-in, he also does not intend to snatch it. Lan decided to raise pigs because of the two great skills of Great Sage and Gluttony. Let Chang Jinyu become the Shadow Monarch and become stronger along the way. Then at the last moment, swallow him again. In this way, not only can a lot of magic and vitality be obtained, but also Chang Jinyu's cheating can be inherited. Shadow Monarch. This is indeed a good ability. I don't know if the Great Sage can parse it. Chapter 10 S-Class Hunter. Mimic Skeleton. Lan used the material creation skill to replace the original adventurer's attire with a modern attire. Because mimics are girls, they are also women's clothing. A JK uniform and black over-the-knee stockings are perfect. Sure enough, women's clothing is cool for a while, and women's clothing has been cool all the time. After changing his outfit, he went to the Hunter Association and registered as a hunter. First, he forged an immigration certificate from Country Z, the celestial dynasty in this world, and then let the Great Sage invade the network of this world and make his identity real. This is naturally very simple for the Great Sage. When registering a hunter, it is mainly based on the value of magic power. Lan controlled his own magic power, and only used 1/10000000000 magic power during the test. The next second, the magic test instrument exploded directly into 5 digits. S rank hunter. The tester was shocked and said in disbelief. The girl in front of her, who was only 15 or 16 years old, was actually an S rank hunter. You must know that there are only a few S-level hunters in each country, all of which are strategic weapons. The test results were quickly reported to the Hunter Association, which also alerted the major guilds. For a time, the upper echelons of these forces sent people to win over Lan. In the face of many forces to win over, Lan directly indifferently refused. The world is like a game to him. After swallowing the ruler and the monarch, he left. The mere natives still want him to serve, and they are simply courting death. After leaving the Hunter Association, Lan found a jewelry store, used the material creation skill again, and got some gold and gems to sell. At the end of the transaction, a total of 135 million HUN was sold, which is equivalent to 700,000 Hyuxia coins. With the money, Lan opened a 1-month stay in the most luxurious hotel in Seoul. Now that I have my identity and my residence, it's time for a copy. The dungeon entrances of Country H are basically guarded by the Hunter Association, and multiple teams are required to enter the exploration. As an S-rank hunter, Lan can naturally single-play low-level dungeons. But the advanced copy still needs to team up. This is also the Hunters Association's protection for hunters, preventing them from dying because of arrogance. Lan rested at the hotel overnight, and the next day came to a sea-level dungeon on the outskirts of Busan. The entrance of the copy is at the subway station, and the surrounding area is blocked. In addition to the police, there are people from the Hunters Association. Enlan directly showed his S-Class Hunter certificate, and after obtaining permission, he entered the dungeon. Compared with the dungeons in the wrong world, the copy of this world is much more dangerous. Because even a low-level copy has many fatal dangers. Unlike the dungeons in the wrong world, from the upper level to the lower level, they are basically graded. As long as you don't go deep, there isn't much danger. Not only did he come in, he encountered a giant anaconda, and he opened his mouth and sprayed poisonous mist at Enlan. Mimicry, Minotaur. Instantly turned into a huge tauren, punched out, and the fist wind dispelled the poisonous mist. Then a pair of big hands quickly reached out and grabbed the giant boa 7 inches. It has to be said that the tauren is physically powerful. High attack and defense, invincible in close combat. The death of the giant boa attracted more poison. What centipedes, spiders, poisonous snakes, scorpions, etc., are all poisonous insects. And these poisonous insects are still very large and terrifying. Enlan was not afraid at all, took out the training sword and rushed into the poison swarm. The killing begins. Wherever the great sword passed, the poison was all crushed. Such an arrogant attack is like the heavy sword in Jin Yang's novels, which is too clever to work. In just a few minutes, the poison was cleaned up. A pile of magic spar fell on the ground. These magic spar stones are similar to the magic stones in the wrong world, and they contain a lot of magic power. No nonsense, Enlan used the gluttony skill to devour all the monster corpses and magic spar. Keep exploring the copy. Because these monsters are too weak, he has no intention of fighting. The monsters encountered next are all directly using the gluttony skill to swallow them alive. Just like that, keep devouring. It took about a day to basically devour all the monsters in the entire dungeon. Next, is the final boss. Enlan came to a dilapidated temple, which enshrined this female statue with a human upper body and a snake lower body. With his arrival, the statue seemed to come to life. The outer layer of the stone shell shattered and fell off, and the boss opened his eyes. I have to say, the boss in front of me is beautiful. Unfortunately, the strength is too weak. Before she could shoot, Enlan took the lead. First, it was bound with a silk binding array, and then the gluttony swallowed it alive. Kill it, it's that simple. After leaving the dungeon, everyone in the Hunter Association was shocked. Even an S-rank hunter would not be able to clean up a C-rank dungeon so quickly. But when they entered the probe, they found that all the monsters disappeared together with the boss. Back at the hotel building, Enlan soaked in the bathtub in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, sipping red wine and admiring the night market below. Today's harvest is very good, the entire sea-level dungeon has provided him with a lot of magic and vitality. Continue tomorrow. In this way, it won't take long before you can advance to the Demon King. Overnight, the news of an Ian's quick cleaning of the sea-level dungeons was soon known to the top of the Hunter Association and the major guilds. When he woke up the next day, the hotel manager sent a flood of invitations. Enlan ignored this and burned all the black flames. Today, he chose another sea-level copy. It's not that he doesn't want to choose a more advanced dungeon, but the more advanced dungeon, even S-rank hunters have to form a team, otherwise they won't be allowed in. The entrance to the dungeon this time is in Seoul, in a dilapidated, unfinished building. Enlan came to the entrance and saw that there were already other hunter teams here, so he wanted to explore this dungeon. However, their strongest hunter is only C rank, and the members of the Hunter Association are not allowed to enter. Enlan showed his S-rank hunter certificate and went in directly. This made other hunters jealous and hated when they saw it. The monsters in this dungeon are not all dead, what kind of undead, ghouls, skeleton soldiers and the like. It was a novelty for Enlan, who devoured a skeleton soldier after breaking it up. Then mimicked the appearance of a skeleton soldier. I am the Supreme Being, in Seolgaon. It's a pity that there is no superposition magic and undead magic, otherwise it would be more like it. Enlan was very playful, and since then he has been fighting in skeleton form. Compared with ordinary skeleton soldiers, the skeleton soldiers of his mimicry are as hard as super alloys. Without the physical body, there is no need to defend when fighting. Chapter 11 Kings and Dominators. Just like last time, the sea-level copy was quickly cleaned up by Enlan. Every day that follows, he will go to clean up a sea-level dungeon. If there is no sea-level copy, then clean up the D-level. Every time he cleans, he devours all the monsters and bosses in the dungeon, including the magic spar. However, his crazy actions not only shocked the Hunter Association, but also angered the ruler and the king. On this day, just as Enlan was about to continue cleaning the dungeon, a middle-aged man found him. Feeling the magic of the opponent's physical strength, Enlan asked, "Are you the messenger of the Dominator? You actually know that the ruler is not an ordinary human." The middle-aged man was startled, but he didn't expect his identity to be seen through at once. "Tell me, what's the matter with me?" Enlan asked indifferently. "I want to ask you not to continue to enter the dungeon. Your strength is enough to match the king. Why do you want to kill those low-level monsters?" The middle-aged man lowered his stance and sincerely pleaded. "No, I need magic power." Enlan refused indifferently. "Don't you want to watch the destruction of mankind?" The middle-aged man asked sharply after being rejected, feeling a little out of control. "Even if it is destroyed, the Dominator can use the Cup of Samsara to restart. Anyway, it has been destroyed so many times, don't you care about one more time?" Enlan asked meaningfully. "You actually know about the Cup of Reincarnation?" The middle-aged man was completely terrified. He didn't know what the girl in front of him was, but he could feel the magic power in her body that was enough to rival the king. Such a powerful existence knows so many secrets about the Dominator. This is really creepy. Enlan did not answer his words, but continued, "For the sake of the rulers to protect human beings, I can help you deal with the king. The premise is that you must open all the dungeons to me, and I need the monsters in the dungeons." "Magic? This?" The middle-aged man was silent. "If you can't make a decision, go ask your boss and I'll give you time." Enlan turned around and entered the dungeon. The middle-aged man looked at the entrance of the copy, sighed slightly and left. Enlan, who has read comics in his previous life, naturally knows all the plots. A certain world is called the God of the Absolute, who created the messenger, ruler, of the gods from the shards of light, and created 8 kings from the shards of darkness. In an attempt to destroy the world, the king broke out an endless war with the ruler. Tired of the war, the brightest shard of radiance asked the Absolute why he didn't help the ruler to destroy the king. However, for the Absolute, this war is like a farce game. All are trapped in the laws of worshipping God, praising God, and proving faith. Either way, the end result is demise. As long as the Absolute exists, the war will not end. So the Dominators betrayed the Absolute and killed him. With weapons containing the power of the Absolute, they attacked the king again. The king was defeated by the ruler. So the kings avoided the sight of their rulers and sought a world where they could cultivate their fighting power. Earth. By the time the Dominator senses the king's movements and rushes to Earth, it will be too late. The Dominators were furious, and they used the Cup of Reincarnation, which contained the power of the Absolute, to set the time back 10 years. The Dominators did their best to save the Earth. But the Earth is too fragile to support the war between the ruler and the king. Therefore, the magic power was continuously delivered to the Earth. The appearance of those dungeons and hunters was to ensure that in the future wars, humans could retain a small number of survivors and continue the vitality of the Earth. The kings also got inspiration from the ruler's method, and let humans destroy monsters to spread magic power. Before the ruler reached the earth, they used the human body to set up many traps, so as to swallow the ruler and send them to support mankind's troops. Earth has been destroyed many times, each time being restarted under the power of the cup of reincarnation. But the use of artifacts is also limited. If the power of the cup of reincarnation is exhausted, the destruction of the earth will never be reversed. Therefore, those copies are used to cultivate strong human beings. When humans kill monsters and spread their magic power, it is the king's plan. Enlan so recklessly devoured the magic power of the copy, which was equivalent to offending the ruler and the king at the same time. But Enlan doesn't take them seriously. In order to evolve the Demon King, it is impossible for him to give up these magic powers. However, he is not a heinous person, and he will not really watch the destruction of human beings on Earth. Simply put forward a win-win proposal to the dominators to help them defeat the king, but they must open all the dungeons to themselves. 3 days later, Enlan received a notification from the Hunter Association. In the future, he will open all the dungeons single brush permissions to him. A smile appeared on the corner of an Ian's mouth. The next day is a crazy single brush advanced copy. From B level to S level, not a single one is spared. The monsters, bosses, and magic spar in each instance were swallowed up. As a result, an Ian's accumulated magic power and vitality increased rapidly. In 3 months, he brushed the high-level copy of Country H over and over. But the accumulation of magic and vitality is not enough. To this end, Enlan changed his appearance and went to Country R, the neighbor of Country H. No matter which world he was in, he didn't like those people who had a good life. Grab a copy directly. In the face of overwhelming strength, the Hunter Association of our country could not stop it at all, and could only watch Enlan seize one advanced dungeon after another. For several days in a row, the high-level officials of our country were furious. They formed an army of hunters, led by S-rank hunters from the sword-drawing guild, and launched a siege against Enlan. A shrine in Kyuden North, Chiyoda Ward, Tokyo. The soldiers and their family members who died in battle since the Meiji Restoration era are enshrined here, and there is also an S-class copy entrance inside the shrine. An Ian's goal today is exactly this copy. When he flew above the shrine, he discovered the surrounding ambush under the magic induction. Interesting. Enlan smiled disdainfully, stood in the air, and opened his arms. Suddenly, the originally clear sky dimmed. Immediately after the gust of wind, a tornado like a long snake rose from the ground. Among the dark clouds in the sky, black lightning flashes. This move is exactly what King Meng's subordinate Lanya used to deal with the pig-head emperor, He Lei Lan. Black thunder cooperates with the wind control technique, a group big move. Under the storm and thunder, all the hunters who were in ambush were blown away, and the stronger hunters were also killed by the black thunder. As for the shrine, it was completely destroyed. Chapter 12 Demon King Evolution. Heartless. Through the aerial photography of the drone, the senior executives of our country who watched the battle were collectively dumbfounded. It was originally an encirclement and suppression of Enlan, but how did it become an Ian's hunter to encircle and suppress them? These hunters are all high-end combat power of their country, and they died like this? After reacting, they were both regretful and afraid. It's too terrifying, this is no longer the power that human beings should have. Enlan looked at the hunter who had been completely destroyed by him, and suddenly had a new idea in his heart. Since the magic power and vitality of the evolutionary Demon King are still close, then learn from the cute king and sacrifice with human souls. Right now, there are as many people in our country as you want. The birth of the devil's thoughts will be a nightmare for the entire our country. Next, Enlan did not enter the dungeon and started to kill like crazy in Tokyo. Clouds of water droplets appeared in the sky above Tokyo. The bottom of the water concentrated the sunlight to form laser-like rays of light, which were continuously emitted. God's wrath is not a skill. To put it simply, the great sage relies on extraordinary computing power and water manipulation to use sunlight to kill people. The number of deaths is increasing, and the great sage is counting. 186 people. 633 people. 1,056 people. 20,788 people. The crowd below was already frightened and ran away screaming frantically. Some were timid, kneeling directly on the ground begging for mercy, trembling constantly. But facing these are people, and Lan really has no sympathy at all. Whether you beg for mercy or not, kill them all. Confirmation is complete, successfully obtain the unique skill Heartless successfully. And Lan didn't expect that because of his ruthlessness and hard-heartedness, he could directly unlock the Heartless, and he would have a lot of magic power left. Information: the analysis of the unique skill Unintentional has been completed. This ability can grasp the souls of those who beg for mercy and those who are rescued. Once you lose the will to fight in front of this skill, it means death. And Lan didn't say a word and used the skill directly. In an instant, all those who feared and begged for mercy were instantly pulled from their souls and died. The death toll, 180,000. In order for the Demon King's seed to gain enough fat, and Lan killed far more people than the Mo King. After all, this is not the world of the cute king, and the evolutionary devil does not have the blessing of the voice of the world. So he needs to sacrifice more souls. The Demon King Milim also slaughtered an entire kingdom, more than 100,000 people, to evolve the Demon King. Confirm the evolution conditions. The nutrient human soul required for the evolution of the Demon King seed has been confirmed, and the specified conditions are met, and now the Demon King evolution begins. Following the announcement of the Great Sage, Lan suddenly felt a drowsy feeling from the depths of his soul. Tell me, the evolution of the Demon King cannot be stopped halfway. Lan reluctantly stopped the killing, a spatial movement skill, and disappeared directly in our country. Appearing again, it is already at the top of Mount Everest in country Z. The evolution process of the Demon King began, and an Ian's soul fell into a deep sleep. His body turned into a slime, floating in mid-air, his whole body exuding colorful light. The next moment, an Ian's accumulated magic and life force turned into a blessing from the voice of the world. The evolution of the Demon King has begun, rebuilding his body and evolving into a new race. Confirmed, evolved from a sticky creature to a magic sticky spirit body, success. Physical abilities have greatly increased in an all-round way, and you can freely switch between physical and spiritual bodies. Continue to obtain the existing functions and resistances of the old individual, success. Acquire new inherent skills: infinite regeneration, universal perception, universal change, Demon King's domineering, magic operation, enhanced clone, multiple barriers, space movement, black flame lightning, universal silk success. Acquired new resistances: natural influence invalidation, status abnormal invalidation, spiritual attack resistance, and holy magic attack resistance successfully. At this point, the evolution is complete. Information: the unique skill Great Sage requested from the voice of the world to apply for the evolution of Great Sage. Confirmed, the application for the unique skill Great Sage has been accepted, and the unique skill Great Sage challenges evolution. Failure, execute again. Failure, execute again. Failure, execute again. Information: the unique skill Great Sage sacrificed mutant, and challenged the evolution again after obtaining the evolution blessing of the devil, and succeeded. The unique skill Great Sage has evolved into the ultimate ability King of Wisdom. Request to sacrifice the unintentional to evolve Gluttony, it has been successful. The unique skill Gluttony has evolved into the ultimate ability King of Gluttony. After an unknown amount of time, Lan finally woke up from his slumber. After waking up, he found a change in himself. Although the main body seems to be still a slime, its essence has been completely changed, and the level of life has been infinitely improved. There is also the power within the body that is enough to destroy the world, it is too strong. Is this the power of the Demon King? And Ian's mouth curled into a smile, which was a wonderful feeling. Next, he opened the properties panel. Name, Enlan. Race, demonic spirit. Blessing, crest of the storm. Magic, Chi-Do, elemental magic, physical magic, spirit summoning, demon summoning. Inherent abilities, infinite regeneration, demon king domineering, magic operation, universal perception, universal change, enhanced clone, multiple enchantments, space movement, black flame thunder, universal silk. Ultimate ability, king of wisdom, king of gluttony. Additional skills, hard power, magic bullet, shadow movement, molecular manipulation, magic obstruction, gravity manipulation, body strengthening, matter creation. All resistances, invalid pain, invalid corrosion, invalid temperature change, invalidate physical attack, invalidate natural influence, invalidate abnormal status, mental attack resistance, holy demon attack resistance. Some additional skills have evolved into inherent abilities, and some have been incorporated into ultimate abilities under the unification of the King of Wisdom. Skills such as inflammation, wind control, water manipulation, and water-ice magic spear are all incorporated into elemental magic. Furthermore, the fusion of sound wave perception, heat source perception and magic perception has evolved into universal perception. Although Heartless and Variant were sacrificed, their attributes were inherited by King of Gluttony and King of Wisdom and did not disappear. The attribute panel is very powerful and can be said to be a skill library. But Enlan knows that this is not the final attribute of the cute king evolving into the Demon Queen. He still has two ultimate abilities that have not been lit up, namely the King of the Oath and the King of the Storm. These two ultimate abilities are quite special. The Oath King is a fusion of all the extra skills based on the analysis of the hero skill Infinite Prison by Meng Wang. The King of the Storm is because the cute king devoured the residue left in the stomach space of the storm dragon to gain some power, thus further establishing the connection of the soul, and this is the ultimate ability. It is a pity that the accumulated magic power has been used up, and the skill tree cannot use its own magic power to point skills, and cannot unlock these two ultimate abilities. Chapter 13 Devouring the Fang King. Back at the Seoul Hotel in Country H, Enlan saw the news. All of them are news of our country being attacked and countless casualties. Enlan didn't care, as if those people didn't kill him. In the days that followed, he did not continue to swipe the dungeon alone, but stayed in the hotel every day, checking in, playing games, watching anime, and living an otaku life. Over time, more and more wooden treasure chests are checked in by the system. At the same time, Cheng Jinyu, the male protagonist of this world, began to grow crazy after gaining the power of the Shadow King. Enlan is waiting for him to become stronger and become the real Shadow King. Then, together with the other kings of the mixed world, they devoured them together. I believe that if you devour those kings, you can accumulate enough magic and vitality to unlock the ultimate ability. 3 months have passed, and the turmoil of the mysterious man's attack on Country R has finally subsided. But what followed would be the real catastrophe of the world. More and more dungeon entrances appeared, and some dungeons even suddenly appeared in densely populated cities of various countries, and then a large number of monsters emerged from the entrances to attack humans. Immediately afterwards, the chaotic kings appeared and began to attack and assassinate the strong human beings. For a time, the atmosphere of the whole world became tense. Because of the rise of the male protagonist Cheng Jinyu, the president of the Hunter Association asked him to protect those who might be attacked. What was unexpected was that not long after Cheng Xiao agreed, the frigid king found Gao, the head of the Hunter Association. After some battle, when Cheng Jinyu arrived, President Gao was dying. The Shadow King fought against the Frost King for the first time. In the end, the Frost King was defeated and chose to flee. The death of the president of the Hunter Association alarmed all hunters. The final battle seems to be coming. At night, Enlan in the hotel was lying on the sofa and playing games. There is a huge screen in front of him, and the game screen projected on it is the latest RPG game in this world. However, just when he was having a good time, the hotel suddenly lost power. The whole room suddenly fell into darkness. Enlan frowned slightly, very angry. It's hard to pass the customs quickly, the key is that I haven't archived it yet. He stood up from the sofa, threw the gamepad aside, and said out of the window in a bad tone, "Tell me, how do you want to die? Little thing, you're very dragging." With a rude sound, the window glass shattered directly, and a giant-like figure stood on the edge of the window at some point. "This magic power, are you the king?" Enlan looked at the person who came, and instantly understood his purpose. "My file in the Hunter Association is an S-level hunter, and the other party is here to assassinate me. Since you know, then go to die." The giant figure slammed into Enlan with one punch, but Enlan just stretched out a finger and caught the huge fist. "How is this possible?" The other party showed a shocked expression, and his tone was full of disbelief. "The King of Chaos, that's all." Enlan was a little disdainful, and the King of Gluttony was activated, and a black hole the size of a ping-pong ball appeared in the palm of his hand. The black hole erupted with terrifying suction, and directly pulled the opponent's arm into it. "No. Don't, I am the Fang King, you can't kill me, the Destruction King will not let you go." The king showed a look of fear and began to struggle frantically. However, no matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't escape the small black hole. In just a few seconds, it was swallowed up. King Fang, that's all. For these kings, Enlan looked down on them at heart. Although he has a lot of magic power, his combat power is too weak. The death of King Fang made other kings in the world feel threatened. The Cold King thought it was Cheng Xiao's hand, so he joined the Plague King and King Kong King, and planned to shoot together and kill Cheng Xiao. In this way, because of the death of King Fang, the original plot was moved forward a lot. The original plot was that the Cold King, together with the Plague King and the Fang King, dealt with Cheng Jinyu and successfully killed him. As a result, Cheng Xiao was resurrected again, completely inheriting the power of the Shadow King, and became the second generation of the Shadow King. His strength greatly increased. Enlan killed King Fang, and Cheng Jinyu took the blame, which was equivalent to changing the plot. But history's ability to correct is very strong, allowing King Kong to replace King Fang. Of course, Enlan doesn't know all this. The next day, the Hunter Association elected a new president, and then called all senior hunters in Country H for a meeting. Enlan also received an invitation, this time he did not refuse, intending to join in the fun. When many hunters came to the building of the association, the staff led them to the conference hall one by one. The hall is very large, and when Enlan arrives, there are already many people sitting in it. Moreover, he also saw the male protagonist Cheng Xiao, who has not inherited the full power of the Shadow King, but his own magic power has already matched other kings, and he is indeed one of the two strongest kings. The meeting was boring, and the main content was some recent events. Enlan was swiping his phone board, which made an S-rank hunter sitting next to him very upset. If it weren't for her mimetic appearance of a girl, the other party probably couldn't help but take action. The meeting ended after 2 hours, and Enlan stretched and was about to leave. As a result, there was a roar over the whole of Seoul, and then a huge vortex portal appeared. Everyone felt at this moment the terrifying magic power in the portal. The show is coming. The corners of an Ian's mouth twitched, showing a look of anticipation. The Hunter Association began to organize people to let ordinary people in the city evacuate first. For a time, the whole city was in turmoil. At the same time, as soon as Cheng Jinyu left the association, he encountered the three kings who were in ambush. Enemies were very jealous when they met, and Cheng Jinyu vowed to kill the Cold King to avenge President Gao. The Cold King will also destroy Cheng Jinyu and prevent the true Shadow King from coming into the world. The four kings battled together, lightning flashed and thunder, hurricanes raged, and under the flash of various skills, countless buildings collapsed. The aftermath of their battle made the entire land of H country tremble, like a 12-magnitude earthquake. Other adventurers, even S-rank adventurers, cannot get close to the battlefield. Enlan stood in the air, watching the battle below with interest. Although Cheng Xiao is powerful, he did not fully inherit the power of the Shadow King, and it is obviously not enough to deal with three kings at the same time. As time passed, he was already at a disadvantage. As for his Shadow Legion, it is not the king's opponent at all. Even if it depends on the number, it will be frozen by the Cold King. In the end, Cheng Jinyu was stabbed by King Kong Kong and passed through his chest. The Frost King saw the scene and showed a triumphant smile. King Kong King also yelled at Cheng Jinyu that it was a pity, saying that after he died, he would not see the appearance of the chaotic army invading the earth. However, at this moment, Cheng Xiao's originally dim vitality was restored, and the magic power in his body increased exponentially. The Frost King discovered the scene and thought that the real Shadow King was coming. He wants to kill Cheng Jinyu and prevent the Shadow King from coming. However, at a critical moment, Cheng Jinyu's father appeared, blocked the attack of the three kings, and guarded his son, waiting for him to fully inherit the full power of the Shadow King. Chapter 14 The Four Ultimates. Storm King. Seeing this, Enlan knew it was time to take action. Now that Cheng Jinyu has awakened, the three of them are useless. The Cold King. Enlan appeared beside the Frost King in a teleportation. Before he could react at all, he used his hand as a knife and beheaded him. The sudden change not only shocked the Plague King and King Kong King, but even Cheng Jinyu's father was horrified. The next second, Enlan shot again. I saw him raise his right hand, and the two circular enchantments enveloped the Plague King and the King Kong King. No matter how the two kings attacked, they could not break the barrier. Enlan activates the ultimate ability King of Gluttony, and the black energy engulfs the Cold King. Not only that, the King of Gluttony devoured the King of Plague and King Kong after devouring the Frost King again. Together with the enchantment, the two kings were swallowed up without even a chance to resist. In this way, plus the Fang King, Enlan devoured a total of 4 kings. Next, his eyes turned to Cheng Jinyu again. Pigs are raised so fat, they should be slaughtered. Not good. Cheng Jinyu's father's eyes changed. Unfortunately, before he could make a move, Enlan appeared in front of him, knocking him unconscious with a single blow. At the same time, Cheng Jinyu also completely inherited the power of the Shadow King, and his strength increased sharply. When he opened his eyes and saw Enlan knocking out his father, he was instantly angry. The powerful force directly attacked Enlan, but unfortunately Enlan used the barrier to defend him. An Ian's impression of Cheng Jinyu is not bad, and as the savior of this world, he is worthy of admiration. But in order to unlock the cute king skills, he had to devour the opponent. As punishment and compensation, Enlan will devour the remaining monarchs and save the world in his place. This approach is selfish, even evil. However, he didn't care. After becoming stronger, Cheng Jinyu found that he was no match for Enlan, and he couldn't even break the defense. This made him unacceptable, but soon cheered up again. I saw that he summoned a huge portal in the air, and then walked out of countless shadow armies from the door. These shadow armies are the subordinates of the first generation of Shadow Kings, and now they have gathered together with Cheng Xiao's shadow army, and the number is even larger. Under the control of Cheng Jinyu, all the shadow soldiers were dispatched, targeting Enlan. So much magic power, I took it all according to the order. Enlan laughed loudly, and the ultimate ability King of Gluttony was fully activated. I saw a huge black hole appeared in the sky, and then the Shadow Legion was sucked into it one by one and devoured it. Chen Xiao looked at the scene in despair, and couldn't believe it. In the end, who is hanging up? Devouring all the Shadow Legion, Enlan came to Cheng Jinyu in an instant. I won't kill you, but you have to surrender the power of the Shadow King. After speaking, he put one hand on Cheng Jinyu's chest. King of Wisdom quickly analyzed Cheng Jinyu's body, and then found the source of the Shadow King's power. The King of Gluttony was activated again, consuming that source of power. In just a few seconds, Cheng Jinyu lost all his power and became an ordinary person. Why do you do this? Cheng Xiao stared at Enlan and asked. I need this power, and as compensation, I will save the world in your place. After saying that, Enlan teleported away. Devouring 5 kings one after another, as well as a whole shadow army, the accumulation of magic and vitality is enough to unlock the 2 remaining ultimate abilities of Meng Wang. Before lighting up the Oath King, you also need to light up the hero skill Infinite Prison. Enlan opens the skill tree to unlock it. Information: based on the unique skill Infinite Prison, the skills have been merged, and the unique skill Infinite Prison has evolved into the ultimate ability the King of Oaths. After unlocking the Oath King, an Aeon's attribute column lost an additional skill. Because of all the extra skills, it's all merged together. Information: confirmed the establishment of the Corridor of Soul of the Master, and the individual named Feldra, devoured and analyzed and appraised the remnants of Feldra, and obtained the ultimate ability King of Storms. After unlocking Lord of the Storm, Enlan showed a shocked expression. Because the magic and vitality of the skills just unlocked, turned into a storm dragon without a sense of thinking. Because this ultimate ability can summon a storm dragon, and is even related to the future skill Dragon Seed Nucleation, the skill tree directly created a storm dragon. That's a bit arrogant. With all 4 ultimate abilities unlocked, an Aeon's strength has finally reached the strongest stage of the evolution of the Mo King. Not only that, the properties panel has also been updated, and it is not the same as before. Name: Enlan. Race: Demonic Spirit. Blessing: Crest of the Storm. Magic: Qi-Do, Elemental Magic, Physical Magic, Spirit Summoning, Demon Summoning. Inherent Ability: Infinite Regeneration, Devil Domineering, Universal Perception, Universal Change, Strengthened Clone, Universal Silk. Ultimate Ability: King of Wisdom, King of Gluttony, King of Oath, King of Storm. King of Wisdom: Raphael, Thinking Acceleration, Analytical Appraisal, Parallel Calculation, Chanting Destruction, All Things, Unity and Separation, Ability Change. Beelzebub: Predation, Stomach, Mimic, Isolation, Corruption, Ghoul, Food Chain. Uriel: Infinite Prison, Law Manipulation, Universal Enchantment, Space Domination. Feldra: Storm Dragon Summons, Storm Dragon Restoration, Storm Magic. All resistances: Invalid Pain, Invalid Corrosion, Invalid Temperature Change, Invalidate Physical Attack, Invalidate Natural Influence, Invalidate Abnormal Status, Mental Attack Resistance, Holy Demon Attack Resistance. The extra skill bar disappeared, and the previous small skills were all merged into the big skills and ultimate abilities. An Aeon's current strength, placed in the wrong world, is already beyond the existence of level 9, even the legendary Black Dragon is not his opponent. No way, Meng Wang's skills are just that. Next, it's time to evolve the dragon species. This is a little simpler than the evolution of the Demon King. You only need to give the King of Wisdom a name, make it evolve into a Sans core, and then swallow and analyze the Storm Dragon, so that you can evolve into a dragon species. Unfortunately, it is still an old problem. The setting of name evolution is unique to the world of Menguang. Even if Enlan names the King of Wisdom now, it is impossible to evolve. The only way to do it is to build up the magic power and unlock the skill tree. The skill tree will convert magic into settings, allowing skills to evolve. Just like unlocking King of the Storm, the skill tree directly creates a storm dragon. At this moment, Enlan realized how terrifying the novice reward the system gave. With this skill tree, even if you are not in the world of Moking, you can get all the power of Moking. Chapter 15 Sanchuo, Paimon. The 4 kings of the mixed world were killed, and the Shadow King was taken away from the original power. The plot was so disrupted by Enlan that it finally collapsed completely. After all, even the male protagonist has lost the plug-in, and the power of history's revision is helpless. It didn't take long for the strongest King of Destruction to lead the remaining 2 kings to the earth. The King of Destruction is the Dragon Emperor of the Dragon Clan, the King of Light Dragons. Along with him came the Dragon Legion. The other 2 kings also led their respective legions. But just before the portal where they descended, Enlan had been waiting for a long time. After the 3 of you, I should go back. Enlan said, looking at the countless army of monsters and the 3 kings in front of him. The Dragon Emperor looked at Enlan and suddenly said, "It's neither a shard of light nor a shard of darkness. I didn't expect that there are still strong people like you among human beings." "Human? Your eyes are bad enough." Enlan chuckled, then sneered. The Dragon Emperor frowned, and just as he was about to say something, an Ian's body changed. The beautiful girl who was originally 15 or 16 years old suddenly turned into a male demon with wings. Enlan took out the travel sword from the system backpack and waved it lightly at the army of monsters. The huge magic power turned into a huge sword glow, and countless monsters were annihilated. This terrifying scene made the 3 kings frown wildly. "So scary." Enlan waved his hand and said, "Sorry, the power is too strong to control." After speaking, he put away the travel sword again. This made the Dragon Emperor feel naked contempt. However, he did not know that Enlan really did not control his strength. Destroying so many monsters in an instant made him feel extremely distressed. Those are all magic and vitality. A whole. The other 2 kings beside the Dragon Emperor were furious, and they attacked Enlan directly, regardless of the 3721. The corners of an Ian's mouth twitched slightly, and he snapped his fingers lightly. The colorful light shrouded the 3 kings, and then turned into a cage. The strongest hero's skill Infinite Prison was analyzed by King Mo and combined to create the ultimate ability King of Oaths. The 3 Dragon Emperor were trapped, and they were shocked. Start frantically attacking the cage, trying to escape. But unfortunately, this move trapped the Storm Dragon, who was no weaker than the Demon King, so how could they be able to break it? "Your fate is destined to be swallowed by me." "No nonsense." Enlan released the King of Gluttony against the Infinite Prison and devoured people and skills together. Immediately afterwards, the King of Gluttony was turned on to the maximum. Destroyed the monster army brought by the 3 kings. In this way, the crisis of the earth is completely lifted. It didn't take long for the Dominator's emissary to find Enlan. "Thank you for saving the earth and human beings, and eradicating all the dark fragments," the messenger said gratefully. "Stop talking, the 8 great kings also have a Taiju king. Where is the King of Giants?" Enlan asked directly. He who has read the comics knows that King Taiju has long been caught by the ruler. There are only 8 regular kings, and they were created by the absolutes out of dark shards. The Shadow King is not actually a king. He is the ruler of the radiant fragments. Because the one who betrayed the absolute was strangled by other rulers, he fell into the 9th Shadow King. But its essence is not a dark fragment. Now Enlan has devoured 7 of the 8 kings and collected 7 dark shards, and the last shard is only needed to synthesize the complete power of darkness. I'll take you there. The messenger said quickly. He knows that Enlan is strong, even if the ruler is weak in front of him. If it weren't for the Dominator who has been helping humanity and saving the planet, the fierce god in front of him might swallow the ruler together. Enlan followed the messenger into a dungeon, and in the deepest part of the dungeon, he saw the locked King Teju. He was too lazy to talk nonsense, and swallowed it directly. Since, all the 9 kings have been swallowed by him, and the 8 dark fragments have also been collected. King of Wisdom, fuse dark fragments. Confirm, the fusion is successful, and obtain the power of darkness. Analyze the Shadow King. Notify, the parsing was successful. The King of Shadows is the mainstay, and the power of darkness is integrated. Confirmed, the fusion of King of Shadows and power of darkness was successful, and the ultimate ability God of Shadows was obtained. A brand new ultimate ability, this is a skill outside of the Mo King skill tree. God of Shadows, Dark Domain, Shadow Extraction, Shadow Swap, Shadow Preservation, Godhead, Invisibility. Dark Realm, the realm of God, in the depths of darkness, you will be the incarnation of God. Shadow Extraction, extract the power of inanimate creatures and turn them into shadow soldiers. Shadow Swap, you can swap positions with the designated shadow soldier. Shadow Preservation, shadow soldiers are preserved in the caster's shadow and can be summoned or saved again according to the caster's needs. Godhead, Divinity, Divine Power, Mystery. Stealth, stealth type, in the dark will increase 10 times the speed and attack power. Looking at the properties, overall it's pretty good. On the basis of the Shadow King, the skills have been strengthened, such as Shadow Extraction, and there is no limit to the number. There is also a Shadow Swap, which directly cancels the CD time. But compared to Meng Wang's ultimate ability, it's still a little less interesting. It devoured 4 monarchs again, including the strongest destroyer, the Dragon Emperor, and countless monster legions, with sufficient magic power. Enlan intends to give the King of Wisdom a name and unlock the Theosophical Core. King Mo named the Psycho Core Seal, but Enlan didn't plan to take the same name. After a moment of thought, he noticed. King of Wisdom, you will be called Paimon from now on. At the same time as the name was given, he also unlocked the spiritual core on the skill tree, and a large amount of magic power was transformed into the naming setting of the Meng Wang world, and he began to evolve the King of Wisdom. For a moment, the King of Wisdom felt something called an emotion, whether it was joy or wonder. In short, the King of Wisdom, who had developed feelings, began to feel overwhelmed by the sudden arrival of something that could not be calculated. Immediately, evolution begins. King of Wisdom, like the evolution of Digimon in Digimon, turned into a round egg, and countless information was sucked into it. Click. The eggshell is broken, and the new King of Wisdom is like an angel, so holy and beautiful. No, now she should be called Paimon. I am Paimon, the integrator of abilities, the sanity core. I am with the soul of Enlan Sama, and I am the executor who assists the master. Sir Enlan, forever, please take care of me. Chapter 16 Dragon Demon Star Divine Body. Dragon Seed Nucleation. Enlan was overjoyed when he saw the birth of Paimon. He knew what a terrifying existence the Psycho Core was. It is because of the birth of the Sans Core that Meng Wang easily finished the abuse of the Storm Dragon and the Scorching Dragon. Paimon, I will devour the Storm Dragon next, you help me analyze it, I want to evolve the dragon species. Enlan said non-stop. Today, he is going to unlock and light up all of Meng Wang's skill tree. Enlan Sama, please leave it to me. After Paimon finished speaking, Enlan used Storm King to summon the Storm Dragon. This Storm Dragon was born because of the skill tree and has no mental awareness, but it is no different from the real Storm Dragon. As a summon, it was devoured without any resistance. The power of the storm dragon is not comparable to the dragon emperor in this world. As the 4 dragon species of the Menguang world, they are born with an immortal spirit body, possess the dragon factor, and have their own dragon spirit domineering. This dragon factor is very terrifying. Even if the storm dragon does not resist, it will not be swallowed and absorbed. Enlan just devoured some, and was frantically destroying his body, making him miserable. The resistance skill pain ineffective is useless, this pain comes from the soul. But fortunately, Paimon did not let him down. As a Sans core, he has completed the analysis and appraisal of the storm dragon. Master Enlan, did you transform your body into a dragon species? Certainly. After getting the answer, Paimon began to transform. In an instant, the pain on Enlan disappeared. Storm Dragon's dragon spirit domineering no longer works because Enlan can also use dragon spirit domineering. From this moment on, Storm Dragon, one of the 4 dragon species in the Menguang world, became like an ordinary monster in front of Enlan. As the Storm Dragon is constantly being swallowed, and Ian's own magic power is also increasing, and his body functions are also strengthening, eventually breaking through the limit. Just like the evolution Demon King, he has evolved again. This feeling is like being reborn from nirvana. Congratulations, Mr. Enlan, you have evolved from a magic sticky spirit body to a dragon devil sticky star god body. The whole body shone with the light of blessing to show off, and finally turned into a human form. He was completely naked, and the appearance of a girl of 15 or 16 years old had become 17 or 18 years old, and he had grown a little taller, reaching about 1.68 m. Golden pupils like dragon eyes and dazzling white skin exude a divine aura. The magic power of black and gold wraps around the body, turning it into a pitch-black full body suit. After feeling his own powerful strength, Enlan showed a satisfied smile. Compared with the Demon King stage, after evolving into a dragon species, his strength has been qualitatively improved again. For example, just using material creation to make the leaked magic power into clothes, it has also reached the highest quality mythical level. Although the storm dragon was swallowed up, the core is still there. Enlan used Lord of the Storm to revive it again. After all, it is a dragon species, high-end thugs and mounts. Then, he began to continue to unlock skills. Scorching King, Dragon Seed Liberation, Dragon Seed Nucleation. With the Searing King unlocked, Enlan gains a second mindless dragon from the skill tree, the Searing Dragon. As more and more skills are unlocked and illuminated, Paimon begins to play the role of Sans core, integrating skills to create new and more powerful skills. She directly integrated her mother body King of Wisdom and King of Gluttony, sacrificed King of Storm and King of Searing, and obtained God of Void. God of the Void not only inherits the attributes of the 4 ultimate abilities, but is even more powerful and perverted. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is the technique of creation. Then Paimon combined all the remaining skills of Enlan to obtain the second most powerful skill King of Fengzhou. At this point, Menguang's skill tree has finally been unlocked. When the skill tree was fully lit up, it turned into a divine power and merged into an Ian's body. Enlan has been strengthened again and his strength has skyrocketed. Now his strength is equal to that of Menguang in his final form. He can even create the world himself if he wants to. This is beyond the existence of God, the level of God of creation. Properties panel, updated again. Name, Enlan. Race, the highest Holy Spirit Dragon Demon Sticky Star God Body, Ultimate Slime. Shelter, the Favor of Friendship. Title, Chaos Create. Magic, Chi-Do, Elemental Magic, Physical Magic, Dragon Species Magic, High-Level Demon Summoning, High-Level Spirit Summoning. Sanity Core, Manas Paimon, Thinking Acceleration, Analysis and Appraisal, Parallel Calculation, Chant Breaking, All Kinds of Things, Unity and Separation, future attack prediction, food chain, thought control, law control, attribute transformation. Inherent ability, universal perception, dragon spirit domineering, universal change. Ultimate abilities, God of Void, King of Toyano, God of Shadows. Azathoth, Soul Storm, Void Collapse, Imaginary Space, Dragon Seed Liberation Searing Heat Storm, Dragon Seed Nucleation Searing Heat Storm, Time and Space Domination, Multidimensional Enchantment. The King of Toyano, Shub Nigurath, Ability Creation, Ability Copying, Ability Gifting, Ability Preservation. The Nameless Mist, Dark Domain, Shadow Extraction, Shadow Swap, Shadow Preservation, Godhead, Invisibility. Resistance, Pain is invalid, Corrosion is invalid, Temperature change is invalid, Physical attack is invalid, Natural influence is invalid, Abnormal status is invalid, Mental attack is invalid, Holy Devil attack resistance. Enlan teleported out of the earth and came to an unknown planet. Here, he intends to test his strength. Dragon Seed Nuclearization. Summons a storm dragon and turns into a core. Enlan took out his travel sword and embedded the core of the storm dragon into it. The travel sword suddenly burst into dazzling light, and it was strengthened, and it became a super artifact. Menguang's use of this trick requires the consent of Storm Dragon and Searing Dragon. But both of an Aeon's dragon species have no minds and are 100% loyal and do not need their own consent at all. Just a thought, whether it is a Storm Dragon or a Scorching Dragon, it will be turned into the nucleus of a weapon. Enlan stood above the planet, swinging his sword. Bang! Like opening up the world, the entire planet cracked. The cracked part produces an electrical discharge, which maintains the crack and prevents it from merging back together due to gravity. Enlan also showed a shocked look, because he didn't use any power just now, it was just pure weapon power. With such a powerful destructive power, it is no wonder that Dragon Seed Nuclearization can make ordinary weapons become divine weapons, and divine weapons can be advanced into creation-level weapons. Enlan shifted again and came to a land of stars. There are many meteorites here, floating in the universe like rubble. The largest is the size of Jupiter, and the smallest is about the size of the moon. Enlan stood in the cosmos, held the divine sword high, and swung it out with all the magic power of his whole body. Click. The stars were shattered, and a huge hole was torn out in the universe, swallowing the fragments. After more than an hour, the crack disappeared. P.S. Menguang's skills have finally been unlocked, and then it will be cool to the end. Chapter 17 Analyzing the Favor. The Protection of the Sword Saint. All the kings were wiped out, the crisis on the earth was lifted, and all human beings returned to their normal lives. After Enlan unlocked all the skills of Menguang, he stayed in this world for a while. Until the 365th day, I finally have to go back. In 1 year, he accumulated 365 wooden treasure chests. There is also Psycho Core Paimon, who also records and replicates the human technology of this world. When she returns to the wrong world, she can also make various technological items. Not only that, but the system backpack is also filled with a variety of modern delicacies.